With the things that have been happening with Bayonetta 2 and the accusations that the game is somehow against women because of the sexualized female main character, Bayonetta, who's designed by a woman, I've decided to do this review earlier than what I should do because my throat is a little sour. But I decided to do it anyway. Because I think it's important that we speak about a game made for women and by women. So I downloaded this game for my brand new, awesome Android cell phone, which is called Everlove Rose, which is a hidden game object, a puzzle game, and a dating sim by Silicon Sisters Interactive, which is an all-female and it's an all-female and founded and owned by women. The studio is located in Canada. And I think I should explain the background of the studio before I go into the game itself and why it's important to speak about it in such a contest with the things that are happening with Bayonetta. The game itself, it's pretty much like any casual game. The gameplay is not very innovative. It doesn't do anything new. The art is very much like the art of any hidden game ever. Very beautiful, but extremely superficial. It doesn't have any depth. It uses great lighting, and the characters are all very beautiful. Even the old people are somehow beautiful. Or they're meant to be beautiful. That's something that you can discuss. So Silicon Sisters itself, the studio, it's based in Canada, and it's made by people who are supposedly veterans with decades of experience in the gaming community. And some of the games these people have worked on are Swordplay for the Wii, Full Auto 2 for the PSP, Crash of the Titans, and Crash Team Racing from Radical Entertainment. And while the Crash Bandicoot games, I know there's something big. I never played them myself, but I know there's something big because they used to be some of the best platformers back in the era of the PS1 and PS2. I cannot speak on it. I don't know the games that these people have made. I don't know any of the people, especially not the owners, who are mentioning About Us page. But the About Us page doesn't really say a lot about them. I had to Google them to know which games they worked on. And the studio main premise and promise is to make inspirational games with a female focus. Games made by women for women. I decided to visit the Facebook page and read some interviews with the two owners, the CEO and the owner of the studio. And they're filled with feminist talk about how the game industry is somehow misogynistic and harasses women and it's not a good environment for women. And their interviews are pretty much the same. Actually, I have heard about Silicon Sisters before because of all the feminist talk that has been going on since and Anita Sarkeesian broke in, and then the Zoe Queen, and now the big Gamergate stuff that's going on. But I never had played a game made by these women until I found Everlove, and I decided to play it because I had heard of these women. Well, maybe it could be something good. Maybe it could be that revolutionary female-focused game that every woman supposedly is waiting for. So I went to the Google page to see if I could download the game. And you have to pay almost €3 to play the game. There is a free version. I don't know what's different from the full version because, and I'll be honest with you, I got a full free version for some reason. And I don't know what is the difference between the two. If you know, if you have played, please tell me, because I want to know if there is any difference between the two, if the free version is just a demo, because the description for both versions is exactly the same. It's very generic. It doesn't say anything about the game other than, oh my god, there's gonna be mystery and love and you're gonna discover who killed your father and blah 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 blah. By the way, this is gonna contain spoilers about the story, although I think you don't care about the story. Because nobody cares about the story when you're playing a dating sim, really. Unless it's like Flamad or Irugashi or something like that, nobody cares about the story. Nobody. Nobody. Oh, and Kawata Social, but that's something different. So, I downloaded the game. I installed it on my cell phone. And the first thing I'm greeted with is a generic menu. And the music so generic and repetitive that I turned it off and started hearing Kavinsky while playing it. When you're hearing Kavinsky, which is a French DJ, by the way, who made Night Call, which is his most well-known music from the Drive movie. That movie follows me around. And listen to his music, rather than hearing a music that's supposed to be for a romantic game. Something went terribly wrong there. And the music, the music, it's so repetitive. It's gonna haunt you through all the game. It's nothing special, really. I suggest you to turn off and go listen to, I don't know, God is an Astronaut or Explosion in the Sky. Go listen to My Hand in Mine by Explosions in the Sky. That's a romantic song. So, what's the story? Well, this is where the game really falls apart. It's where that thing that I had talked about earlier that has to do with Bayonetta starts. So, you are Rose in this game, a pretty redhead who's going on a therapy session because of her nightmares, and it's asked to enter a world of one of her past lives to discover why she has these dreams. And by doing this, she closes her eyes and takes a deep breath, describes what the hell is going on, and she wakes up in Heart's home. Really creative name, girls. 10 out of 10. Where you will find out about the stuff. Also, you encounter a version of the Doctor who is your drunk uncle for reasons, but it's never explained if the other characters have counterparts in your actual life, because you don't know anything about this girl, Rose. She has a name and a face, but like most characters in the dating sim, she's just an avatar for the player. And you have all these features make the game look different, but really not. First of all, you have a diary system, which is where you note all the things about the game. You have notes about the characters, you have sketches of the herbs you must find in the hidden game section, and you have a feature that I want to talk about later. And besides that, you have a somewhat roleplay element where the decisions that you make affect the status of the character. You have 5 status: kindness, romance, responsibility, wisdom, and will. However, this affects nothing in the game or the road you have, because you choose the road you want. You have an intro section where you meet the characters that you can romance with, but you can't choose it. There are 2 endings depending on your actions by the end of the game, by the middle to end. You can stay or not stay with the characters. With one of the characters, I did 2 routes, because on the first route I stayed with the rebels instead of staying with him, and he rejected me outright. Yeah, but he's an ass, so well, I wouldn't mind. Me personally, but the game makes a huge deal out of it, and it's kind of like that. It's that kind of game. The only thing that this status affects is that you get a pseudo analysis of your personality according to the 2 most chosen features. Usually I get responsibility and wisdom, or will and wisdom. Well, that should say something about me, I guess. And then you have the Eden game phase of the game. Well, I'm saying game a lot, am I not? Well, which is, well, hi, any other hidden game in the freaking world. You find objects in this kind, herbs and pieces of paper that will give you hints and will help you with the diary. The herbs are for the teas and medicine that your character do, because she and her uncle and her father and the whole family work with herbs, blah 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 blah. Backstory that doesn't matter. Backstory, actually. And then you have a puzzle. It's a puzzle that explores a little bit of the backstory of the characters. For example, there is this guy who's a thief, and he used to be a prince, and you find this by an unwanted poster. And after you romance with all the guys, you get an extra scenario which explains that your father, who actually isn't dead and it's turned into a supernatural beast, is the guy who left everything behind. So all the game believe your father died in a fire. This is actually brought up as a plot point in which you can pretty much reject 2 guys or stay with them because of their roles, which were instrumental in your father's supposed death. And it bears no weight whatsoever, because after all you find out that he was alive, because he wasn't really dead. He was just cursed to turn into a beast, which you will also do because reasons. And I don't know how this affects the modern time rules, because the game doesn't really explain it. The game doesn't explain anything really. It just, well, you have pretty guys, and then yeah. Well, so in the end you can skip these little things. You can skip the herbs and the puzzles if you have done them at least once, which it's so useless and they become a waste of time, because they aren't really that hard either. So, and the game doesn't have any difficulty system to make the game harder or easier. I mean, this section. So once you know where all the things are, it's just very easy. It also has a hint system, which highlights with shiny stuff the general place where they are. Then you have to find them. I do admit that some of the flowers are kind of hard actually. Kind of hard to find, like the strawberries, because they're very very small and you just see a tiny red spot which may or may not be an actual strawberry. Oh, but who are the lovely guys that you can choose? You have four four men who represent four male character stereotypes. You have Warwick, which is a naive romantic prince controlled by his uncle, and this guy, it's like that guy who has the face of an angel. He's really young. He's about your age. He's your childhood friend. He lived all your life with him until the death of your father, of course, because then you were expelled by the castle for reasons, because your father killed the queen or something. He didn't really kill the queen. Everybody knows he didn't really kill the queen. He was trying to save her, but the queen died anyway. And then there's a plot point in which his uncle is his father, and that's not really explain character development, maybe. And he's the romantic guy who promises you to run away and stuff, and you can choose to to accept his propose, and you gain romantic points. Okay, or you can tell him to gain some sense, and he does, and he does, and he thanks you for it. Actually, this probably is the best character on the game, because he does actually what you tell him to do, and he gains sense. He's still a stereotype, but he's the most well-used stereotype out of them all. Then you have his uncle, Blackston, something like it. It's a really weird name. Who's a ruthless noble with a heart of gold and a tortured past, who thinks you can understand his dedication to the kingdom, because he just wants to protect his kingdom from the rebels that he doesn't really understand, because he lived all his life unsheltered. And he lives with the bitterness that he was in love with the queen, and the queen was in love with him, but his brother couldn't have children, so he had the children with the queen, which was Warwick, and then she was married away to the king, and he was sent in service, and he's really bitter about it. He tries to protect him, but he really is an ass. Still, he's the prettier of them all. Judge me, please. I think I might be sick. Well, my throat hurts, so there's a high possibility that I am sick. Then you have Thjordan. He's black, which is great. No, really, having a black character in a game, it's awesome. I really think that having a choice of a black character in a dating sim or any other game, it's like, oh my god, awesome. But he's the worst of them all. He fails at doing his job. He's a psychiatrist. He's pretty much a herbal medic, just like you, but he has no dedication whatsoever to his job, and he fails to save the king, who is sick, and the king dies. And he's obsessed with trying to save you from your curse, which you may or may not deny. That's your choice. And he's your professional lapdog. Also, he's like the worst character of them all, because he's always, oh, but Rose, I want to save you, please stay with me, and then he cuts your hand because he needs your blood. What a freak. And then you have Garrett. Yes, his name is Garrett, and he's a thief. Oh god, I laugh so hard. You have no idea. When I see a character called Carrot, who's the love child between Corvo Amanto and Ezio Auditore, OMG, I laugh so hard. It's like, he's the trader of secrets and the thief, who also had an instrumental role in killing your father, like the nobleman and stuff. And really, he's a trader of secrets with a heart of gold, the prince who left nobility because it sucked. And it's so cliched, it's like, oh my god. It's really bad. Now I want to talk about, now that I talk about the boys, I want to talk about that last feature of the diary, which is unlocking illustrations where this guys appeared sexualized. Yeah, you know, bare chests with sexy poses and romantic scenes. The only one who doesn't have this, it's the freaking Noble. He has an awesome scene where he's riding a horse and he looks like a Roman. Um, how's the word? Oh my god, I forgot the word. The word. Oh my god, how do I do this in a recording? He looks like a Roman emperor. See, I remember. He looks like a freaking Roman emperor, and it's goddamn beautiful. I know it's supposed to look lighting, like he's this awesome and beautiful knight in a shining armor, but I just remember a freaking Roman emperor, and that is awesome. Anything that reminds me of the Roman Empire, it's awesome. Well, the game is still not awesome because it reminds me of the Roman Empire, because all the other illustrations are extremely sexualized illustrations of the characters, and then an illustration that is the start of a sex scene, or the middle of the, or the end. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know sex. I don't know. You tell me. I don't get it. And this is the place where it enters with Bayonetta, because this studio, Silicon Sisters, goes all forward with this feminist view, games for women made by women, and then they present me a game with sexualized male stereotypes. What the hell am I supposed to think that? They're doing exactly the same they're trying to say Bayonetta did. Bayonetta is a beautiful and confident woman about her sexuality. She knows she's beautiful. And hell, she's gonna show it to the world because she's confident enough for it. And in the second game, her outfit isn't even half as sexualized as her outfit in the first game. And I have to say it again, all her outfits were designed by a woman. It wasn't a man. It was a woman. And oh god, it's all bullshit. Facebook page, the freaking feminist talk, it's bullshit. It's bullshit because they're sexualizing males in a game. But when it's males, it's okay. Because men have oppressed women for centuries. It's not okay. Revenge is not okay. Turning men into victims, it's not okay. It makes them as bad. It makes you as bad as the people who oppressed you were. And it wasn't all men who oppressed you. I'm pretty sure all men aren't jerks. I'm not pretty sure. I know all men are not jerks. I've been hanging out with men since I was like 3 years old. I've been hanging out with men for 20 years now. I have barely no complaints. And when games like this come to me and say, well, look at this man's abs. He's on a sexy pose and you're touching him because you're applying herbs in a completely uncomfortable pose for him to be. Just why? Well, I know the Japanese do this for both women and men. I have played those dating sims and they're sometimes outright creepy, especially those on Android for women, which I've talked about on Facebook various times. They have features that are outright of an abusive relationship, but this is no better than that. This is women saying, look at those men, these men are objects for you to have sex with. They're literally worse than Bayonetta. Bayonetta is not bad, actually. I'm gonna say something here. Bayonetta is a character that empowers women. Why? Because it makes them know that they can be sure about their sexuality. They can show it. They can be sexy. They can be sexual. There is no problem with that. It's a game thought by a man, yes. But I dare to say that it's a man that loves women more than these women do. Why? Because he's pretty much telling you, female gamer, who spends her time unsure about how she looks and how she will look for her boyfriend and the guy she likes, that you too can be a Bayonetta. You too can be pretty, beautiful, sexy, classy, sensual. You can be whatever you want. And it doesn't really matter how you look. Bayonetta pretty much could be an average woman. She could be a cutie like me. She could be Angelina Jolie. It's her attitude that makes her sexy. It's her way to speak, the words she says, how she moves. It's not even the camera. It's how she acts. It's her attitude towards you, towards the player and the characters. Because I remember playing the first one and she broke the first wall. I want to play the second one so hard because I want more of this. I want more of this female positive message that women can be and should be sensual, but in the right situations. I know Bayonetta is a fantasy. It goes on in a fantasy world, and so does this game. But this game is saying that you should use men. It's the message that I take out of it. It's not that this is a romance. This is not a romance. This is not the romance I, as a woman, want. This is just me going around men, saying romantic shit, having all-scream sex with them, and then staying with them at the end, because the game implies that it goes on only on a few days. And Garrett, you never saw him before. And after a few days, you're like, oh my god, Garrett, I love you so much. Oh my god, Rose, I love you so much. And it annoys me. Really. It makes me angry. It makes me sad that women who promise games who will liberate and motivate women do this shit. Really. I know that people are trying to say that men are not objectified in gaming. And in AAA gaming and most gaming, yeah, I admit that they aren't. At least not intentionally. I believe that Assassin's Creed does that intentionally because it sells for females as well. And that scene where in Assassin's Creed 2, in 2, where Ezio shows up in undressed to have sex with some female character that I don't remember the name because she was completely useless. It's made for both sexes. It's made for women and men because men get to see a sexy woman in underwear and women get to see a sexy man in one underwear. It's alright. I'm okay with that. But not with this. Ezio is a character with character development. We get to know Ezio through 3 games. And I know that most sexualization from 2 male characters are made by the fans themselves. They're the ones who go on Tumblr, pick up the characters, draw them being gay and with women and in sexy poses. They're the ones who write the fan fiction. I know all that shit. But this game is the proof that males can be objectified in gaming. I know it's just an Android game. I know it's just the one example. But I'm pretty sure there are many other games who do this. I'm pretty sure there are games in the major industry doing this, although more soft, just to have females buying it. I know Persona, at least Persona 3 on the PSP has a female root. But it's Persona, what the hell am I saying? Why am I comparing goddamn persona to a game where you get males in sexy poses. And that's your reward. It's pictures of men in sexy poses. There's nothing else to this game. Don't buy it. Please. Don't support these women. Go play Super Meat Boy. Just go play something else. Just don't play this. I just threw away my guideline to the garbage. That's how much I hate this game.